up, guys? So I was only able to put together another watch this week. So for tonight's event, we've got another golf style build. So overall, what we've got a couple things on this that are unique versus the other times. I like to move these hands around a little bit. I always hate when they're stacked. 4 picks. So couple cool things. This is the very first time I have ever built a watch with a 140 case. So the 140 case kind of looks like a 110. Do I have a 110 handy? Sometimes I do. Yeah. So the 110 that I haven't disassembled yet. So you've got the same side profile, but then it tapers in kind of like a 710. And then instead of it being flat, it has a rounded area there. But with these straps in the way the lug hole for the spring bar is low, you don't have anything hitting, which is great. So, and then see, obviously this is straight, but this is round backwards. So it's kind of a mix of a 710 and a 110. Though I do not use 710s too much, but that's the look of the 710 there. I don't even have a 710 because you utilize a different stem length on the crown, and with it being slightly smaller, it impacts what kind of bezels I can use. A lot of these bezels that have a kick out like that are specifically for the cases that have that shorter stem. But then I don't like I don't quite like the feel of like you're getting the crown from under the bezel. So this is a small coin, but some of these can get really big and kind of kick over a little bit. And if you've got that shorter stem length, kind of impacts things for me. So I don't use them very often. Plus, as I said, it's not as versatile for me to just grab any crown that I want, because I have to grab a crown that has that shorter length. And there's only a few cases that crown and stem length fit, and the other ones are 18 millimeter lugged cases. So do not use 710 very often. But so this is a 140 case. First time I've ever used one. It came with a fancier crown and fancier caseback and fancier bezel, all of which I do not use, so it cost me more. I'm going to pull that stuff off, and I might be able to resell that bezel, might be able to resell the caseback, but might be able to resell the stuff. But I'm not usually in the market to buy stuff and then flip it around and sell it. So, but 140 case, screen printed, golf style, Porsche style, backside lumed. Did a set of orange PloProf because there wasn't as much orange on the dial. So I thought that was the perfect thing to throw in there. Obviously white would have looked good. Blue would not have, because the blues that I have are dark blue. Silver would have worked well as well, but I wanted that nice little pop of orange since there are already hints of it in the dial. And since there was so much blue, and I didn't want yet another like orange kind of pop, I went with a nice baby blue racer style insert. Thought that would flow nicely. So brushed case, small coin bezel, milled crown. These come with a different crown, obviously an engraved crown that I can't use, but milled crown like I normally put on my 350 cased watches. Went ahead and did an exhibition case back on this. The other ones I've done a solid case back. So you've got a signed rotor in the back and exhibition case back. And then this is one of the golf colored Italian painted bands. Sorry, I'm lacking words here. So this is hand painted, hand stitched. You've got edge paint on the sides, super soft, thin yet pliable. I mean, it's thin, but it's not really that thin. It just gives for nice pliability. And then I threw on one of these, like, obviously we didn't do this, but picked up some of these laser etched, or they're not really engraved. I guess they could have been engraved. They look like they're hand etched, but they probably are just engraved. Preview buckles. So this is a little bit different than the other golf builds that I've done. Specifically, it doesn't have the golf logo on the strap, but it does have all the golf colors. New case, exhibition case back, and one of these preview buckles. So kept it a little bit different, just so that everything stays unique and different. Bezel will turn left, it'll turn right. It is a tension ring bezel. It is on there pretty tight, so it shouldn't move really unless you want it to move. It is not a click style bezel. Automatic mechanical. You've got a rotor in the back, so as you are moving, that rotor is moving. See that rotor moving? It's always facing down, right? So as you're doing that, it is transferring wind into this, that transfers into here, that transfers into the mainspring. What this does is winds your watch. This is an automatic watch, so as you move, it puts wind. Once the mainspring is fully wound, it does not accept anything more. It's not that this doesn't keep turning, it's just essentially deflecting, or, you know, there's another word with a D that's like diminishing, you know, one of those words. Like, it's just not accepting it. It is, you know, discharging it. Maybe that's a good word with a D for reference. So what you want to do is, before you put it on, you want to wind it just a little bit, because if it's dead and you just open it up and you set the time on it and you're not moving enough to keep that thing going, it's going to pause at different times because it doesn't have enough in there. So just pre-wind it just a little bit, and how you do that is you back the crown off the threads till you hear it and feel it clicking. At that point, you can wind, and you'll notice you're just barely off the crown tubes. You've got a wobble crown, so you can see that it's moving, but you can tell that you're not solid anymore. You're not here. This is solid. You pull this, it moves the whole watch. Here, you pull this, it moves the whole watch, but it's not transferring, right? So you can hear it clicking. At that point, you can wind. And a wind is a turn clockwise as you're looking at it here. Counterclockwise does not wind it, but it is a lot easier to keep your finger spacing. And also with these crown guards, it also helps you. So what I'm used to doing is, if I started doing this, I'd start threading it back on. Then I'm backing it right back off. So just keep holding on to it. Just pull a little pressure if you start to thread on there and back it off. So 4 or 5 seconds of that mixed with your rotor movement will keep your time throughout the day. If you do it for another 4 or 5 seconds, you're going to max out your 31-hour power reserve on it. It has about a 36-hour power reserve, but these are rated at 31-hour plus. What I do is I wind them and I set them, and I make sure the next day that they're running, keeping the right time. It's usually about 33, 34, 35, somewhere in there, when I notice, like, hey, it stopped. So if you do it for a little bit longer, you're going to max out that power reserve. I would do that if you're going to be driving all day, sitting all day, not really being active at all. That should give you 35 hours, but would also continue to keep that clock maxed out if you are active throughout the day. So you could wear it the whole day and still have 35 hours when you take it off, you know. So anyway, when you're happy with your winding, you're going to pull it to the one and only click, and at that point you can set your time. It does not have a hacking movement, so it's going to keep going. If I didn't mention, I did some orange PloProf hands, and I did a Mariner orange second sand. Sometimes I say things, and sometimes I'm thinking about something else, and I don't. I think it's around 10. Okay, Google, what time is it?
It's 11:10 a.m.
11:10 a.m. Where has time gone? 11:10. We'll go right past it. Push it in, get it out of that time setting, and then wind it down. So that is the build. As with every build, you're going to get matching beads, and the wife found these beads that have worked awesomely. And it's not the same pattern, obviously, of the colorway, but it has all the colors involved. So you're gonna get that. I went ahead and grabbed one of my white custom boxes. We found some golf stickers, ordered them online, put them on here, kind of like lacquer sealed them in. And then I swapped it over to a Atlas style watch pillow. Let's see, you're gonna get some watch cleaner. This is good on all glass and metal parts, so everything here in the center, non-streaking, non-toxic, non-residue, as well as a microfiber. Now, if you scratch the case with it being brushed, either pop your band off so that you're not scuffing it, or just kind of, yeah, you kind of want to get it off there, because let's say you put a scratch up and down here. You're going to take the green side of a Scotch-Brite, and you're just going to do half. Don't go back and forth. You'll get lines that aren't the same way. Go single passes, maybe kind of push it against your case and wrap. And you'll just kind of blend in that scratch. You're not really going to make it go away, but you're going to kind of break up the scratch, putting lines through it that are in the same pattern as the case. If that makes sense. You don't want to scratch it, but if you do, it can be brushed out. That's one way to do it. Without sending it to somebody who professionally, maybe takes it apart, puts it on something that can mill it, or, essentially that. I mean, I don't know that they're doing that. They might be using some Dremel tools or something like that. Maybe they do a different pattern in the brushing, but that's one way to do it without having to send it to somebody special to do it. So it's also going to come with leather conditioner. This will keep that strap perfectly soft. You probably will never use it with this strap, but you'll have it. If you would need to use it, I'd put it on the back where it's making contact with your skin. And just let it set. Put it on there, kind of rub it in, let it set. Use a rag or something. Don't use one of your microfibers. You don't want that to harden on there, and then you are trying to clean your watch with something abrasive, right? And specifically the glass, because if you scratch the glass, because it's acrylic, you're going to need to fix it. And this is Fine Scratch Remover. This is Novus 2 from Amazon, just repackaged. It's like Polywatch, but instead of me spending $8 a Polywatch tube, I can buy like one big thing of theirs and like a pack of 25 of these for around $15 and make like 25 of these. So you'll put a tiny bit of this on it and you'll buff it out using your color matching microfiber. If the scratch is up and down, just go left and right, filling that scratch, haze it, and then buff it out, and then wait a little bit, see if it's still there. If it is, obviously still wait a little bit. You want that to solidify, and then do it again. You're essentially building up that scratch. A little bit will go a long way, so it's better to do multiple little coats than one big coat, because it's not going into that crack and then holding it, and staying. You're going to be pulling it right back out. So, you know what I mean, if you ever have to do it. Most people don't have to do it, but it is domed acrylic. It does stick up. You can put scratches in it, and you can notice them. You don't know how often people don't notice scratches. I see their watch again. I open it up, pop the movement and everything out, look through the glass, and it looks rough. Now, granted, with acrylic glass, there's imperfections in it anyway. There's no way to get that I even receive them perfect, but I'll see all kinds, like it went through a war, and they're like, oh, it has scratches on it? I'm like, yeah, you can't really see them. It depends on if you get them in the right light, and the right bounce, just because of how that acrylic is. You'll see some like weird, lines, because you have different levels in this, and it will put different kind of like circular lines, reflections on there. But it's funny how many people have this and don't use it, because they're like, I haven't put any scratches in there, and then I see it, I'm like, you have all kinds in there, you just don't know what to look for. But anyway, it's there in case you'd ever need to use it. And that's the build. And if it's going to you, thank you so much for your support. It will be in the event tonight. I doubt anybody's going to think to reach out ahead of time and buy it from the interest post. So, especially if I say it's going to be in the event tonight. So, if it is going to you, congrats. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Sorry for the long video. Sometimes I want to talk about stuff, sometimes I don't. And since I don't have other videos I have to get to, I can be a little more chatty. I am excited to have that new 140 case. Not excited how much more they are, because I do lose a crown and I can't just go buy crowns right now. So we'll see how much of that kind of thing that I use. That's the same with the 170 case. Love the case, but they come with a fancy crown that's engraved, and when I try and remove that engraving, that heat makes these stems separate from the crown, which means I need to buy a regular crown, and getting some parts right now is tough. So we'll see how often I get to use some of these nicer, more expensive cases that come with parts that I can't use, that I must replace with normal parts that I can't get. So, but for now, there's a 140 case. So if it's going to you, thank you again. If you want me to build you something custom and unique, reach out and I'll see what I can do. If you want to continue to see videos like this, like and subscribe as I put them up all the time. Thanks, guys.